Hello, YouTube, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well, staying calm, behaving themselves. Uh, just gonna do a quick update on the reading of Zecharia Sitchin's The 12th Planet, picking up on Chapter 3, Gods of Heaven and Earth. What was it that after hundreds of thousands and even millions of years of painfully slow human development abruptly changed everything so completely and in a 1, 2, 3 punch circa 11,000, 7,400, 3,800 BC, transformed primitive nomadic hunters and food gatherers into farmers and pottery makers, and then into builders of cities, engineers, mathematicians, astronomers, met- metallurgists. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Merchants, musicians, judges, doctors, authors, librarians, and priests. One can go further and ask an even more basic question, so well stated by Professor Robert J. Braidwood in Prehistoric Men. Why did it happen at all? Why are all human beings not still living as the Megamosians did? Maglemosians did. The Sumerians, the people through whom this high civilization so suddenly came into being, had a ready answer. It was summed up by one of the tens of thousands of ancient Mesopotamian inscriptions that have been uncovered. Whatever seems beautiful we made by the grace of the gods. The gods of Sumer. Who were they? Were the gods of the Sumerians like the Greek gods who were described as living at a great court feasting in the great hall of Zeus in the heavens? Olympus, whose counterpart on earth was Greece's highest peak, Mount Olympus? The Greeks described their gods as anthropomorphic, as physically similar to mortal men and women and human in character. They could be happy and angry and jealous. They made love, quarreled, fought, and they procreated like humans, bringing forth offspring through sexual intercourse with each other or humans. They were unreachable, and yet they were constantly mixed up in human affairs. They could travel at immense speeds, appear and disappear. They had weapons of immense and unusual power. Each had specific functions, and as a result, a specific human activity could suffer or benefit by the attitude of the god in charge of that particular activity. Therefore, rituals of worship and offerings to the gods were supposed to gain their favor. The principal deity of the Greeks during their Hellenic civilization was Zeus, father of gods and men, master of the celestial fire. His chief weapon and symbol was the thunderbolt. He was a king upon earth who had descended from the heavens, a decision maker and the dispenser of good and evil to mortals, yet one whose original domain was in the skies. He was neither the first god upon earth nor the first deity to have been in the heavens. Mixing theology with cosmology to come up with what scholars treat as mythology, the Greeks believed that first there was chaos, then Gaia for Earth, and her consort Uranus, the heavens, appeared. Gaia and Uranus brought forth the 12 Titans, 6 males and 6 females. Though their legendary deeds took place on Earth, it is assumed that they had astral counterparts. Cronus, the youngest male Titan, emerged as the principal figure in Olympian mythology. He rose to supremacy among the Titans through usurpation after castrating his father Uranus. Fearful of the other Titans, Cronus imprisoned and banished them. For that he was cursed by his mother. He would suffer the same fate as his father and be dethroned by one of his own sons. Cronus consorted with his own sister Rhea, who bore him 3 sons and 3 daughters, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera. Once again, it was fated that the youngest son would be the one to depose his father, and the curse of Gaia came true when Zeus overthrew Cronus, his father. The overthrow, it would seem, did not go smoothly. For many years, battles between the gods and a host of monstrous beings ensued. The decisive battle was between Zeus and Typhon, a serpent like deity. The fighting ranged over wide areas on earth and in the skies. The final battle took place on Mount Casus, near the boundary between Egypt and Arabia, apparently between in the Sinai Peninsula. And here in figure 21 is a depiction of Zeus fighting this serpent-like deity, Typhon, if that's pronounced. Remember, folks, this is my first time reading this book firsthand, aside from hearing someone else talk about it, so please excuse any errors. Having won the struggle, Zeus was recognized as the supreme deity. Nevertheless, he had to share control with his brothers, by choice or according to the one version, through the throwing of lots. Zeus was given control of the skies, the eldest brother Hades was accorded the lower world, and the middle brother Poseidon was given mastery of the seas. Though in time Hades and his region became a synonym for hell, his original domain was a territory somewhere far below, encompassing marshlands, desolate areas, and lands watered by mighty rivers. Hades was depicted as the unseen, aloof, forbidding, stern, unmoved by prayer or sacrifice. Poseidon, on the other hand, was frequently seen upholding his symbol, the trident. Though ruler of the seas, he was also master of the arts of metallurgy and sculpting, as well as a crafty magician or conjurer. Zeus was depicted in Greek tradition and legend as strict with mankind, even as one who at one point schemed to annihilate mankind. Poseidon was considered a friend of mankind and a god who went to great lengths to gain the praise of mortals. The 3 brothers and the 3 sisters, all children of Cronus by his sister Rhea, made up of the older part of the Olympian circle, the group of 12 great gods. The other 6 were all offspring of Zeus, and the Greek tales dealt mostly with their genealogies and relationships. The male and female deities fathered by Zeus were mothered by different goddesses. Consorting at first with a goddess named Metis, Zeus had borne him a daughter, the great goddess Athena. She was in charge of common sense and handiwork and was thus the goddess of wisdom. But as the only major deity to have stayed with Zeus during his combat with Typhon, all the other gods had fled. Athena acquired martial qualities and was also the goddess of war. She was the perfect maiden and became no one's wife, but some tales link her frequently with her uncle Poseidon, and though his official consort was the goddess who was the lady of the labyrinth from the island of Crete, his niece Athena was his mistress. Zeus then consorted with other goddesses, but their children did not qualify for the Olympian circle. When Zeus got around to the serious business of producing a male heir, he turned to one of his own sisters, the eldest. I'm sorry about that, everyone. I didn't change the page for you guys. Sorry about that. Let's rewind a little bit. Zeus then consorted with other goddesses, but the children did not qualify for the Olympian circle. When Zeus got around to the serious business of producing a male heir, he turned to one of his own sisters. The eldest was Hestia. She was by all accounts a recluse, perhaps too old or too sick to be the object of matrimonial activities, and Zeus needed little excuse to turn his attentions to Demeter, the middle sister, the goddess of fruitfulness. But instead of a son, she bore him a daughter, Persephone, who became wife to her uncle Hades and shared his dominion over the lower world. Disappointed that no son was born, Zeus turned to other goddesses for comfort and love. Of Harmonia he had 9 daughters. Then Leto bore him a daughter and a son, Artemis and Apollo, who were at once drawn into the group of major deities. Apollo, as firstborn son of Zeus, was one of the greatest gods of the Hellenic pantheon, feared by men and gods alike. He was the interpreter to mortals of the will of his father Zeus, and thus the authority in matters of religious law and temple worship. Representing moral and divine laws, he stood for purification and perfection, both spiritual and physical. Zeus's second son, born of the goddess Maya, was Hermes, patron of shepherds, guardian of the flocks and herds. Less important and powerful than his brother Apollo, he was closer to human affairs. Any stroke of good luck was attributed to him. As giver of good things, he was the deity in charge of commerce, patron of merchants and travelers. But his main role in myth and epic was as herald of Zeus, messenger of the gods. Get something to drink, y'all. Impelled by certain dynastic traditions, Zeus still required a son by one of his sisters, and he turned to the youngest Hera. Marrying her in the rites of a sacred marriage, Zeus proclaimed her queen of the gods and mother of Zeus proclaimed her queen of the gods, the mother goddess. Their marriage was blessed by a son, Ares, and 2 daughters, but rocked by constant infidelities on the part of Zeus, as well as a rumored infidelity on the part of Hera, which cast doubt on the true parentage of another son, Hephaestus. Ares was at once incorporated into the Olympian circle of 12 major gods and was made Zeus's chief lieutenant, a god of war. He was depicted as a spirit of carnage, yet he was far from being invincible. Fighting at the Battle of Troy on the side of the Trojans, he suffered a wound which only Zeus could heal. Hephaestus, on the other hand, had to fight his way into the Olympian summit. He was a god of creativity. To him was attributed the fire of the forge and the art of metallurgy. He was a divine artificer, maker of both practical and magical objects for men and gods. The legends say that he was born lame and was therefore cast away in anger by his mother Hera. Another and more believable version has it that it was Zeus who banished Hephaestus because of the doubt regarding his parentage, but Hephaestus used his magically creative powers to force Zeus to give him a seat among the great gods. The legends also relate that Hephaestus once made an invisible net that would close over his wife's bed if it were warmed by an intruding lover. He may have needed such protection, for his wife and consort was Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. It was only natural that many tales of love affairs would build up around her. In many of these, the seducer was Ares, brother of Hephaestus. One of the offspring of that illicit love affair was Eros, the god of love. Aphrodite was included in the Olympian circle of 12, and the circumstances of her inclusion shed light on our subject. She was neither a sister of Zeus nor his daughter, yet she could not be ignored. She had come from the Asian shores of the Mediterranean facing Greece, according to the Greek poet Hesiod. Hesiod. She arrived by the way of Cyprus, and claiming great antiquity, she ascribed her origin to the genitals of Uranus. She was thus genealogically one generation ahead of Zeus, being so to say a sister of his father, and the embodiment of the castrated forefather of the gods in figure 22, which will be in the next slide, everyone. Aphrodite then had to be included among the Olympian gods, but their total number 12 apparently could not be exceeded. The solution was ingenious: add one by dropping one. Since Hades was given domain over the lower world and did not remain among the great gods on Mount Olympus, a vacancy was created, admirably handy for seating Aphrodite in the exclusive circle of 12. It also appears that the number 12 was quite a requirement that worked both ways. There could be no more than 12 Olympians, but no fewer than 12 either. This becomes evident through the circumstances that led to the inclusion of Dionysus in the Olympian circle. He was a son of Zeus, born when Zeus impregnated his own daughter Semele. Dionysus, who had to be hidden from Hera's wrath, was sent off to far lands, reaching even India, introducing vine growing and winemaking wherever he went. In the meantime, a vacancy became available on Olympus. Hestia, the oldest sister of Zeus, weaker and older, was dropped entirely from the circle of 12. Dionysius then returned to Greece and was allowed to fill the vacancy. Once again, there were 12 Olympians. Through mythology, though Greek mythology was not clear regarding the origins of mankind, the legends and traditions claimed descent from the gods or heroes and kings. These semi-gods formed the link between the human destiny, daily toil, dependence on the elements, plagues, illness, death, and a golden past, when only the gods roamed earth. And although so many of the gods were born on earth, the select circle of 12 Olympians represented the celestial aspect of the gods. The original Olympus was described by the Odyssey as lying in the pure upper air. The original 12 great gods were gods of heaven who had come down to earth, and they represented the 12 celestial bodies in the vault of heaven. The Latin names of the great gods given them when the Romans adopted the Greek pantheon clarify their astral associations. Gaia was Earth, Hermes was Mercury, Aphrodite is Venus, Ares is Mars, Cronus is Saturn, and Zeus is Jupiter. Continuing the Greek tradition, the Romans envisioned uh, Jupiter as a thundering god whose weapon was the lightning bolt. Like the Greeks, the Romans associated him with the bull. That's going to be figure 23 on the slides coming up. There is now general agreement that the foundations of the distinct Greek civilization were laid on the island of Crete, where the Minoan culture flourished from circa 2700 BC to 1400 BC. In Minoan myth and legend, the tale of the Minotaur is prominent. This half man, half bull was the offspring of Pasiphae, the wife of King Minos, and a bull, Archaeological finds have confirmed the extensive Minoan worship of the bull, and some cylinder seals depict the bull was a divine being accompanied by a cross symbol, which stood for some unidentified star or planet. It has therefore been surmised that the bull worshipped by the Minoans was not the common earthly creature but the celestial bull. The constellation Taurus, in commemoration of some events that had occurred when the sun's spring equinox appeared in that constellation circa 4000 BC, in figure 24 on the next slide, everyone. By Greek tradition, Zeus arrived on the Greek mainland via Crete, whence he had fled by swimming the Mediterranean after abducting Europa, the beautiful daughter of the king of the Phoenician city of Tyre. Indeed, when the earliest Minoan script was finally deciphered by Cyrus H. Gordon, it was shown to be a Semitic dialect from the shores of the eastern Mediterranean. The top picture here is figure 22. When they're talking about the embodiment of the castrated Zeus. Figure 23 there in the middle. There you got the Romans adopting the Greeks. And figure 24, they're relating the spring equinoxes with Zeus. So it just says pictography you can see here. You know, you got crosses here. There you got Zeus's thunderbolts, hammer, more rods. See the hand, the loyalty. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening along, following along, commenting along, all that good stuff. Thank you all. I really appreciate it for helping me grow in this aspect. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Love you guys. Stay safe and calm, everyone.